Domestic Animal Cruelty, my PYP Exhibition presentation. I chose to study animal cruelty for my PYP Exhibition project. Why I chose this topic? A few months ago, my neighbors got a dog named Evie, and around the same time that I got a dog. I noticed that Evie was afraid of everything, didn't want to play, and was really nervous. But our dog just wasn't like that. So I asked my neighbors why Evie was like that, and they told me that they think Evie was a victim of animal cruelty before they got her. This got me curious about what animal cruelty is, why some people do it, and how it affects our perspective. Meeting Evie made me want to take action on this. My guiding questions. What is animal cruelty? Why did someone be cruel to animals? And how does the inequality of other living beings affect our perspective on their rights? Guiding question 1. What is animal cruelty? Animal cruelty is when someone mentally hurts or kills an animal. It's an awful thing and a huge world problem. There's two main types of animal cruelty. One is when it's the action itself that hurts an animal, and the other is when a lack of action hurts the animal. Here are some examples. Physical abuse. Physical abuse is what usually pops into someone's mind first when they think of animal cruelty. This is when someone hits an animal, usually a dog in this case. They might do this because they think it will train a dog, but really it just makes a dog more aggressive, which makes them hit it more. Dogfighting. Dogfighting is a blood sport in which two dogs are put in a 14 to 20 foot pit, or just like somewhere else, and they're forced to fight. Fights can be from a few minutes to a few hours long. Sometimes they're to the death, but not always. If the fights are not to the death, the losing dog will sometimes be killed as part of the sport. When not fighting, the dogs are left chained and beaten as part of their training to make them more aggressive. More examples of animal cruelty. Greyhound racing. Greyhound racing is an organized sport, meaning it's not illegal, which I think it should be, where greyhounds will race around an enclosed track in pursuit of a mechanical rabbit. Greyhounds can get severely hurt during races. They're also drugged to make them more competitive. The dogs are kept in cages when they aren't racing, which is usually up to 23 hours a day. Puppy mills. Puppy mills are large-scale breeding operations where people will try to breed as many puppies as quickly and cheaply as possible. The dogs that they use for breeding are kept in cages and bred non-stop, and they are given proper veterinary care. The puppies that are bred are taken from their mothers at birth. And because there's no veterinary care for these dogs, they're often sick. Here are some examples of inactive animal cruelty where it's a lack of action that's hurting the animals. Animal hoarding. Animal hoarding is when someone has more animals than they can physically care for. This leads to the animals being sick. One of the worst parts about animal hoarding is the people who are hoarding actually think they're helping the animals by giving them shelter, and this can be caused a lot of times by mental illness. Animal neglect. Animal neglect is when someone does not take care of their animals. This includes not taking animals to the vet, not giving them food, neglecting basic grooming, and more. Abandonment. Abandonment is when someone abandons an animal to fend for itself. People might do this because they can't take care of an animal. Guiding question 2. Why would someone be cruel to animals? There's financial reasons. Active animal cruelty can make people money, like gambling on dog fighting or puppy sales. Inactive animal cruelty is often caused by a lack of money. Pets are expensive, and so is like health care to stop mental illness. Animal hoarding is often caused by mental illness. Neglect can be a result of mental illness because people might forget that they have an animal. Lack of education. People might not know what animal cruelty is, so they don't report it if they see it. People might not know what animals need to survive. Guiding question 3. How does the inequality of other living beings affect our perspective on their rights? After studying animal cruelty and its causes, I've come to the conclusion that animals should have guaranteed rights. Here are a few simple ones that I made up. Freedom from hunger and thirst, freedom to express normal behavior, access to veterinarian health care, access to shelter. I also believe that the actions of everyday people can affect animal cruelty in both positive and negative ways, like where you choose your pet. Like instead of getting a dog from a puppy mill, you could get it from a shelter. Also, identifying and reporting animal cruelty if you see it. Owner responsibility. And you could help shelters. What the data shows. Have you ever witnessed an animal being abused? So I did a survey, and the first question was, have you ever witnessed an animal being abused? And red is no, blue is yes, yellow is maybe. And then I did a bunch of scenarios. Then I did the same question at the end. And based on the scenarios, the data changed. More people thought they had seen it, they maybe have seen animal cruelty, than they did before the scenarios. My art component. I linked my art to the key concept of form. My art connects to the key concept because it shows what the lives of some animals are like right now. My writing component. So I wrote a poem in Spanish for my writing component. Yo veo mi cadena arrastrando en el terreno y otra animal es en una guara. Es triste y yo soy también y mucho más animales están sufriendo. No sé qué soy poder hacer, pero lo sé alguna cosa tiene que ser hecho. My action. For my action component, I decided to ask for donations outside of a pet store so I could donate them to an animal shelter, and I did that yesterday. What I learned from my inquiry. I learned what animal cruelty really is, the root causes of animal cruelty, and what I can do to help stop animal cruelty. And it's also all around us, but often goes unidentified. What stood out to me about my learning? Making change can be hard. And this is also a quote that I found. Don't treat animals as animals. Treat them as living beings. That's what they are. What I want the community to take away from my learning. I want the community to take away that even though we can't always see it, animal cruelty is all around us, but it happens behind closed doors. I also want the community to know that some people in the world will do bad things, and this can include and cause animal cruelty. I also want the community to know that the actions of everyday people can affect the lives of animals too, both in negative and positive ways. By learning about animal cruelty, people can take action and help, because it's the actions of everyday people that can help stop animal cruelty. A quote was once written by the famous children's author Dr. Seuss in the book The Lorax. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. When he wrote this, he was referring to climate change. But I believe that the same quote can be used to talk about animal cruelty. Unless people who care about the problem take action and do something, nothing's going to get better. And these are the sites that I used for my research.